on WOUB.
Tonight on Newswatch, Nelsonville citizens gather tonight to meet candidates for mayor.
Plus, a Franklin County judge blocks Governor Mike DeWine's executive order banning intoxicating hemp products in Ohio.
And in sports, Ohio football announces another nationally televised game when they face Eastern Michigan. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening, I'm Parker Davis.
And I'm Charlie Ehlenfeld. Welcome to Newswatch.
You are taking a live look at the Nelsonville Public Library, where the League of Women Voters is hosting a roundtable for candidates running for mayor and auditor.
The public is invited to ask questions directly to candidates. This election will play a key role in Nelsonville's future because all candidates at tonight's event are running under Issue 23, a citizen-led ballot initiative that would abolish Nelsonville's charter.
Back in August, Nelsonville City Council re-appealed Issue 23 and then asked the Ohio Supreme Court to remove those candidates from the ballot. Last month, the court denied the city's request, but did not say whether the council's reappeal was valid.
As of now, Issue 23 is still repealed, so even if these candidates win, they will not be able to take office. The council was supposed to hear a report on the Supreme Court case during last night's meeting, but Nelsonville City Attorney said it will be moved to the next council meeting on October 27th.
Governor Mike DeWine's recent temporary ban on intoxicating hemp products has been blocked by a federal Franklin County judge. Since 2023, DeWine has been adamant about wanting to regulate intoxicating hemp products, especially products with less than 0.3% Delta-9 THC, which can be purchased at any age but still can cause a high. The lawsuit, filed by 3 hemp retailers and manufacturers, states that DeWine acted outside of his authority as a governor. A representative from the U.S. Hemp Roundtable says if the legal challenges are not successful or if the legislator doesn't reverse this, it could have a devastating effect on the Ohio hemp industry.
Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost announced a nearly $280,000 grant for peace officer training. The grant will give officers access to advanced training courses in traffic safety and impaired driving enforcement at no cost to them or their agencies. The training courses are provided through the Ohio Peace Officer Training Academy and covers topics like traffic collisions and vehicle dynamics. Athens County is choosing to reinvest $300,000 in matured tax dollars from an Israeli foreign government bond. In an email to commissioners, Athens County Treasurer Taylor Sappington assured that the decision to reinvest was not political, saying the bond has a negative outlook and could potentially downgrade. Sappington also said that he directed the dollars to be invested as close to home as possible.
The Ohio Department of Natural Resources unveiled a new historical marker at Ash Cave in Hocking Hills State Park. ODNR says the marker honors Ash Cave's 300 million years of history as a place of shelter and gathering. The earliest known settlements date back to the Adena culture in 500 BC. The cave was later used as an amphitheater in the 19th century, hosting community events and church services. The new marker is a part of ODNR's mission to preserve the stories of significant people, places, and events across the state of Ohio.
Well, we've had a lot of rain recently, but are we still in this drought, Steve?
Yeah, guys, we're really not going to get any relief from this drought anytime soon, but we are getting some pretty pleasant weather. Right now, we're at 71 degrees and clear skies. And if we take a look at the radar, there's really nothing around. We're just going to be dealing with these sunny skies for the foreseeable future. And then if we take a look at the temperatures all throughout southern Ohio, we're really kind of uniform across the board. 70 in Wilmington, 71 in Newark, 71 in Athens. So pretty uniform. We're all pretty much experiencing the same thing. As we head into tonight, though, there's going to be no clouds to help bring in or keep in that energy we get from the sun. So all of that heat is going to radiate out, and that's what's going to give us an overnight low of 48 degrees. So if you're heading anywhere tonight, make sure you grab a light jacket or even a sweatshirt because it could get pretty chilly. And then if we look into the 3-day forecast, tomorrow 69 degrees, a low of 41. So we're just going to keep having these chilly nights for the next few days. Thursday, we drop a little bit lower to 66, and then on Friday, we get back up to 69. So kind of a mix and match week, but then stay tuned for my full forecast where we break down what the weekend looks like.
Thank you. It's day 14 of the government shutdown, and there's no end in sight. The impacts are being felt across the federal workforce with impending deadlines for some military paychecks. Michael Yoshida reports on the ongoing political stalemate.
Hi, I'm Christine Ohm. Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem appearing in a Transportation Security Administration video intended to be played at airport security lines.
Democrats in Congress refuse to fund the federal government, and because of this, many of our operations are impacted, and most of our TSA employees are working without pay.
Multiple U.S. airports now refusing to play the video, citing the political nature of the message. With the shutdown in its second week, the blame game on full display. Fear of not getting a paycheck forcing some military families to seek assistance at a Texas food pantry.
We're only 2 and we're struggling, so I can't imagine what families with more people are struggling with.
Over the weekend, President Donald Trump posted the administration had, quote, identified funds to pay troops if the shutdown continued. Tuesday, DHS said the Coast Guard would also get paid, saying the money would come from the tax and spending cuts bill passed by Congress over the summer. Democrats, meanwhile, holding firm, pushing for an extension of the Affordable Care Act subsidies to keep health care costs from skyrocketing.
Of course I want our military paid. Of course I want federal law enforcement officers to be paid. There's a way to do that. I'm an appropriator. We should have passed appropriations bills. There's a way to run a government, and this is not the way to run a government.
Last week, thousands of federal workers across 7 agencies received layoff notices. Tuesday, the White House Budget Office said it was prepared to ride out the shutdown with more layoffs. Each day, the stakes rising, with no indication any progress is being made between Democrats and Republicans. In Washington, Michael Yoshida.
The Supreme Court declined an appeal from right-wing conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. The appeal was an effort to overturn a $1.4 billion libel judgment. In 2022, a Texas judge found Jones liable for defamation and emotional distress regarding comments that the Sandy Hook school shooting massacre was a hoax. Jones has repeatedly tried to head off the sale of his platform, InfoWars, to pay off those damages. However, Jones has yet to pay any of the financial damages he owes to the Sandy Hook family victims. Coming up, tensions between the U.S. and China grow as President Trump threatens a 100% tariff.
And Instagram's newest safety settings has users wondering about the impacts of social media on teenagers.
We've had nothing but sunny skies for the past week. Stay tuned to see when the rain might return.
Marlee Matlin was the youngest and only deaf person to win an Oscar for Best Actress, a champion for deaf actors. She now takes you on her life's journey, the lows and the highs, in Marlee Matlin, Not Alone Anymore, on American Masters.
Tonight at 9 on WOUB.
Every modern constitution has explicit gender equality protections except the United States.
More women than ever before were sworn into the Virginia General Assembly, vowing to reverse 46 years of failing to support the Equal Rights Amendment.
This is a vote of a lifetime. The question is, what side of history do you want to fall on?
Monday at 10 on WOUB.
Feel the wonder wherever we are.
It was kind of a moment of enlightenment.
So come get lost with me. We'll see the great unknown.
It's home to me. Wow, that's beautiful.
We could be the greatest story ever told.
When we all work together, we make change. I still believe in that.
I'm excited. You my hero, you know that, right?
Thank you.
Most people believe that doctors are healers.
Love is why we're here.
Life goes fast.
Our story is everyone's story.
But it's just the start.
Trade tensions between the U.S. and China have economists on both sides of the Pacific worried. President Donald Trump and Xi Jinping are set to meet this month to discuss the tariffs.
Many investors are hoping they'll lower import costs for businesses, but that's not what's happening at U.S. ports today. Amy Kiley reports.
Can we find some way to kind of coexist with China as we still are strategic rivals?
Today, the U.S. and China are imposing new port fees on each other's ships amid the threat of more tariff hikes. That's according to the U.S. Trade Representative and the Chinese Ministry of Transport. The fees are another import cost for businesses on top of duties.
We're in a pattern of escalation and now hopefully towards de-escalation, paving the way for President Trump to meet with Xi Jinping just a couple of weeks from now in Korea.
The port fees are part of escalating trade policies between the two countries. Chinese analysts accuse the U.S. of starting this latest tit-for-tat by imposing new export controls last month. They say that's why China recently tightened restrictions on rare earth minerals. They're important for cars, electronics, and semiconductors. As a result, President Donald Trump is threatening a triple-digit tariff hike on Chinese imports by November 1st. Beijing is warning of retaliation if that happens, but both sides say they'd prefer a resolution. In a social media post Sunday, Trump says, quote, "Don't worry about China, it will all be fine. And the USA wants to help China, not hurt it."
The 100% tariff does not have to happen. I imagine that I will have some contact with my counterpart and then the two leaders will meet.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
If you have a home improvement project that you've been putting off, you may want to think about tackling it before the end of the year. That's because several energy upgrades that qualify for a federal tax break are ending. In today's Consumer Watch, Jen Sullivan explains the upgrades that qualify for those federal tax credits and how to claim them on your 2025 taxes.
If you've made any energy-saving upgrades to your primary home this year, you may qualify for a tax credit that could save you a few $1,000s. The Energy Efficient Home Improvement Credit allows you to claim up to $3,200 for certain upgrades, but that tax break expires December 31st.
Now is the time for homeowners to take advantage of those and understand what home energy efficiency projects they need to tackle.
Sarah Riley works at the home services company Front Door. She says working with a contractor can help you figure out which upgrades qualify. This tax credit is broken into two parts. First, a maximum credit of $1,200 for certain energy-efficient home improvements like HVACs, insulation, and limits on exterior doors and windows. They have to be Energy Star certified. The second credit is up to $2,000 for certain heat pumps, water heaters, and biomass stoves and boilers. Riley says HVAC systems should be replaced around every 10 years.
We know from the U.S. Department of Energy that a high-efficiency HVAC unit can save households up to 20% of their annual energy bills.
To receive the tax credit, you have to fill out the IRS tax form 5695.
Make sure you have it installed and paid for by the end of the year.
Tax consulting specialist Travis Belton says save your receipts or get a certificate of completion. You don't need to send them into the IRS, but keep them for your records. And keep in mind, you can't get back more on the credit than you owe in taxes.
Not all the credits are refundable, though, so you may be able to reduce your tax liability, but not necessarily get the full money back.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Americans are known to go all out for Halloween, and this year likely won't be any different. According to the National Retail Federation's annual consumer survey, Americans are expected to spend an average of $114 per person this Halloween. Candy is, of course, a popular purchase, with total spending expected to reach $3.9 billion. The survey finds Americans will spend more than $4 billion on costumes. Spending on decorations will also exceed $4 billion. Total Halloween spending is expected to reach $13.1 billion, which will be a record high. So, want to hear a little bit about this weather, this drought going on. Just give us a little update on that and what's to come, and hopefully some cool temperatures maybe.
You know, we don't really have any relief coming, unfortunately. We're going to be looking at another week of just dry, warm weather, so no real relief coming. But if we take a look at the national temperature map right now, we can see that we are kind of being boarded off from these cooler temperatures that are sitting up north, and they aren't really coming down into areas like Chicago or Ohio and southern Ohio. So we're kind of dealing with these mid to upper 60s and 70s, while up in Minnesota, there's 45-degree temperatures. But if we zoom back into Ohio, we're seeing temperatures again, mid to upper 70s, and that's kind of what we've been dealing with for the past week or so, and it's really not looking like it's going to go anywhere. But now if we look at the radar, additionally, with those lack of cooler temperatures, we're not getting any rain to help our drought situation. So we're dealing with really warm, dry air for this time of year especially. Now, it's all being stuck behind that front that we looked at a little bit earlier, and it's all staying up where that cooler air is in Minnesota, but it really won't be able to come down, and that's just because we're dealing with this cold front that is kind of just walking its way into our region right now, and it's really not going to fully get here, mostly all because of this high pressure system that's helping push it back into our region. So that's why we're just going to be stuck in this area of just not really changing weather, pretty mundane weather that we're going to be dealing with, but definitely nice considered what we'd usually be dealing with this time of year. Now this cold front is kind of going to stall out over our region tomorrow morning, so that's why we're going to see a little bit of a drop off tomorrow in terms of what we saw today, but still we're going to be in the upper 60s, which is right around average for this time of year, really not feeling like that cool, rainy air that you'd normally associate Halloween with. Tomorrow, it starts to move a little bit further as that high pressure droops a little bit and allows the cool air to kind of reach our area, but again, it's sticking right there and won't let it fully move through our region. So that's kind of what's going to be stopping our weather from happening too much. Now on Thursday, a pretty big clear out is happening. This really big dome of high pressure is just going to be sitting over our region, and that's where it's just going to disperse that cool air that we would have been expecting and allow us to start heating right back up, because all of that sun is going to be able to hit our ground and heat up our ground, so it's really not going to be allowing for any cooling effect. Tomorrow, as we talked about, a high of only 69 degrees, as today we were 74, 75 degrees, so a little bit chillier, but again, nothing really crazy. Partly sunny skies, and that's just what we're going to be dealing with over the next week or two, because we really aren't going to be able to go anywhere. Now, what's important to look at is this overnight low. This overnight low of 41 degrees, we could have some frost if that dips a little bit lower, just because there's going to be no clouds around to help as an insulation for that heat that we're going to get throughout the day. So it's definitely going to cool down in the overnight hours. Tonight, though, we're going to be looking at an overnight low of 48 degrees, and that's, again, just going to be a little bit warmer than we're expecting tomorrow. But mostly clear skies, again, really helping all of that heat radiate back out. So we're going to be dealing with a lot of dew in the early morning hours tomorrow. Taking a look at our next few days, Wednesday, Thursday, we're kind of dealing with these mid-60s temperatures, but then Saturday is where it gets really interesting because we jump back up into the 80s. It's almost like Mother Nature knows it's homecoming weekend. Everyone's coming back to Athens. And then Sunday, we finally get a chance at a little bit of rain, and that drops our temperatures right back down. And again, those overnight lows are going to be sitting in the low to upper 30s, so we're going to be watching out for some frost because the beginning of next week finally looks like we might get a little bit of a start to fall, so it might finally feel like a little bit of Halloween weather.
Thanks, Steve. Instagram is further cracking down on what millions of young people can see on the platform, aligning its teen accounts safety settings with guidelines for PG-13 movies. The move comes on the heels of a recent study by Common Sense Media that looks at how closely social media shapes how boys see themselves and others. Ivan Rodriguez reports.
From social media to gaming, young men online face a digital life that provides both connections and challenges, and it's having a significant impact on how they see themselves and others, according to a new Common Sense Media survey.
This is shaping young boys, young men's image here across the country. And the images are everything from fighting to body image to being tough to making money.
CEO and founder of Common Sense Media, James Steyer, says in most cases, young boys aren't searching for these posts. 68% of them say the content automatically shows up on their feeds.
It's actually just being sent to them directly by the big social media platforms in order to make money. We have a youth mental health crisis in this country, but also a crisis among boys and young men.
91% of boys see messages about body image or appearance, like dressing a certain way and having clear skin, according to the study. Those with high exposure to such messages are more than 4 times as likely to say social media makes them think they should change their appearance. 69% also regularly see content promoting gender roles in problematic ways, such as posts suggesting girls prefer to date a particular kind of guy or use their looks to achieve their goals.
I think it's a very powerful public education message to the boys themselves and to kids in general, but also to their parents and educators. Platforms have been getting away with some really offensive and inappropriate algorithmic content for years. It's about time they were held accountable, period.
In Atlanta, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
Next in sports, Ohio football announces another nationally televised game with homecoming around the corner. Hear what head coach Brian Smith has to say after the break. And for the latest from Newswatch, follow us on X, Instagram, and YouTube. And stay tuned for a new episode of The Lookout coming this Wednesday.
How did these homes change America?
I'm Jeffrey Bear, and I'll be your guide
as we go inside 10 homes that changed the way we live. From Taos Pueblo to Thomas Jefferson's Monticello to Frank Lloyd Wright's Fallingwater.
Find out which great American homes made the list
of 10 homes that changed America.
Thursday at 10 on WOUB.
It's one of America's most unlikely movements. The fight to convert abandoned railroads to trails.
There's no way of getting something as terrific as a trail without putting some work into it.
A movement that met roadblocks at every turn.
That is prime real estate.
I'm Edward Norton, and this is the story of a national transformation from rails to trails.
Saturday at 9 on WOUB.
It's time to go to work.
It's the defining event of our history.
This is the story of modern war and how it's changing us.
We've opened the secrets of the universe.
We can do remarkable things together.
We have never wasted our time together.
Be not afraid of greatness!
Mission accomplished.
We're on the precipice of a great discovery.
I love it.
Welcome!
Whoa, Nellie!
Let's set this palace on fire.
I love it.
Welcome to the News Hour.
What does it mean politically?
I love it.
Oh.
Fasten your seatbelt. I love it. I love it.
Delighted to hear it. You make a good team.
With sports, I'm Joshua Jacob. Ohio football returns to Peden Stadium from homecoming on Saturday against Northern Illinois. Head coach Brian Smith talked about the atmosphere he expects at the game.
You know, I love our fans, and I'm expecting a great crowd, and you know, we always want to be able to put on a great show and represent our school and our program at the highest level.
The Bobcats will have an opportunity to shine on the national stage as they travel to Eastern Michigan on October 25th. The game will be presented on the CBS Sports Network at noon. Now heading down the road, Chesterfield will see some action this Thursday as Ohio women's soccer team set to take on the Buffalo Bulls. The Bobcats have had a rough stretch in the conference as the last game they won was a month ago against Central Michigan. However, this squad has been keeping it close, drawing 4 of their 8 conference games. Ira Faulkner and Sonia Deering lead the team in scoring with 3 goals and are going to be the ones to watch for the Bobcats. For the Bulls, Jasmine Gerber has been lighting up the field this year. She's the second in the MAC with 17 points. Goalkeeper Lexi Thompson is another threat, and she's only allowed 8 goals this season. The Bobcats have fallen to 10th in the conference, and with the top 6 teams advancing to the MAC tournament, Ohio needs to pick up some wins to put themselves into that conversation. Buffalo is sitting pretty at the top of the conference with 6 wins in the MAC. Now bouncing to the Convo, Ohio volleyball has been heating up with a 3-game win streak. Interim head coach Kenzie Brinkman talked about what is fueling this turnaround this season.
We have just continued to build and progress every practice and every game. There's not been a lull regardless of what our record is. And so for that reason, like each day we're getting better and better. And I think it's just finally catching up with us that we're a great team.
Ohio volleyball looks to keep building as they take on Eastern Michigan Eagles this Thursday. Bailey Blair has led the way for the Bobcats with 203 kills on the season. Helping her get it done is Kendall White, who was just named MAC Setter of the Week. The Eagles are under the Bobcats in the MAC, but they can't be overlooked as they face some solid competition. After the Bobcats take on Eastern Michigan, they'll have a challenge taking on the top of the conference, Ball State. After that, they'll take on Kent State and the Central Michigan Chippewas before they get a chance to break up the tie even more and take on Northern Illinois. It's a big week for Ohio athletics, and these 3 stars led their teams to the win. Kendall White puts up an impressive performance against the Red Hawks with 26 digs, 94 assists, and 4 kills. Forward Laker Aldridge put up 1 goal and 3 assists to combine for his 4 points against Maryville. Tiana Namanesu closes out their list after scoring a game-winning goal against Ball State on Friday, with 2 shots on goal during the game. It's another busy week in Athens as homecoming is going to bring the best out of these teams. To keep up with the action, make sure to visit woub.org/sports.
Still ahead, scientists discover a rare double ring structure in space. And here's a look at what's coming up next on your public television station.
let's have a conversation about our histories and where we belong.
I want to live the story. I want to be inside.
Collaboration requires constant negotiating in the most constructive way.
We all are sharing one common world, and hopefully we're making efforts to learn how to collectively do that better.
Friday at 9 on WOUB.
CasualWorks was not designed, created, or maintained by people who studied disability. They're people who studied opportunity. If a person has very limited movement and can make little teeny circles, there's a place for you. The idea of workers contorting themselves to a job is one business model. Our business model is that the job responds to the worker.
You can feel the human spirit. That's power.
I hear music moving me, sound it's playing on repeat, breaking light, I finally see.
It was always in my body.
Like a bang on a drum, this is my kingdom come, I can sing it.
These moments with you are purely joyous.
Hope y'all ready.
This is amazing.
Tired of spending so much time and money on vehicle maintenance and repairs? Make this October Cartober when you donate a car, truck, RV, or boat to our station. Plus, your donation is tax deductible. Donate today.
A group of citizen scientists have helped discover a rare double-ring structure in outer space. The structure is of a type called odd radio circles, also known as orcs. They are so massive that entire galaxies sit at their centers. Orcs span hundreds of thousands of light years and reach to 10 to the 20 times of the size of our Milky Way galaxy. Despite their size, they are also very faint and can usually only be detectable through radio light. All right, I don't know about you guys, I'm not a huge fan of space, but I do love stargazing.
Oh, it's great. You know, I don't know if I'm discovering any orcs out there, but you know, it's great, especially on a clear night. What about you?
Here in Athens, I mean, there's very little light pollution. It's great to see those stars at night.
Yeah, Steve, are we going to get some clear skies tonight in order to see them?
It's going to be the perfect night to head out to like Radar Hill and go stargazing, because if we look, it's not going to get too chilly, especially for this time of year. Overnight low of 48 degrees. Now, if you're going to go stargazing, make sure you put on a jacket and maybe a hat, because that's pretty chilly, but not that bad. Mostly clear skies are going to be perfect. But then as we look at the next 7 days, tomorrow 69 degrees, and then Thursday we cool off a little bit with those overnight lows of 37 degrees. Could get extra chilly and possibly give us a little bit of frost. And then Friday morning, we're back up to 69 degrees and an overnight low of 46. But then Saturday, again, it almost seems like Mother Nature knows homecoming is coming, because on Saturday it's 80 degrees with an overnight low of 55. And then on Sunday, the rain returns with a low of 68 degrees, and that cools off our temperatures a little bit and brings back those overnight lows to 41 degrees. And then Monday, we're back to those chillier temperatures, 66 and 42. And then we go back to this cycle of really sunny, dry weather. So we get that break on Sunday with a little bit of rain, but then right back to the sunny, dry conditions.
Well, that does it for our broadcast this evening. For everyone here at Newswatch, I'm Parker Davis.
And I'm Charlie Ehlenfeld. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. Have a great night.
This is